FM, frequency modulation. Right, so invented in the 1930s by a guy called Edmund. Amazing advancement over what we had with amplitude modulation, because amplitude modulation is extremely susceptible to noise. You have like a noise like a lightning strike or a combustion engine, which was all the rage back then. These waves get bigger, and amplitude modulation cared about, put the information in how tall the waves were. FM, frequency modulation, put the information in the frequency, and with that we could carry way more information. In Australia, FM was, the government said in 1975, which is way past all the other countries. In 1975 said, yep, we're going to commercialise these bands. We're going to have the frequencies between like 85 and 108. And it wasn't until 1980 that the first FM commercial radio stations kicked off in the capital cities of Australia. My name's Pete Goldsmith. I'm not talking about frequency modulation. I'm talking about the FM CLI tool that Apple shipped in Golden Gate. And it is the gateway to Apple's foundation models. This is a lightning talk. It's going to be very short. I'm going to speak quick. So what is FM? Now this is where we go to the demo. So I'm running Golden Gate macOS 27 beta 3 here. And you can, without installing Xcode, the FM CLI tool's installed. And with FM, we can run FM help, and we get this. It's like the first time that Apple has put in a CLI this like very on-trend Unicode graphic in your CLIs that is all the rage with all of the AI folk. And there's actually a reasonably well fleshed out CLI that they've put together. The WWDC session that they presented this at and showcased it at talked about it being scriptable, and let's have a go of interfacing with it. FM, we'll just go up to, you're live at CocoaHeads. I'm a foundation model developed by Apple. I don't have information about specific events like CocoaHeads. That wasn't too bad of a response. But I'm not live at CocoaHeads. I can help answer questions or provide information about Apple products and services. So without any extra flags, this is running your on-device Apple Foundations model. This model is very small. It's got a 4K context window. And the primary purpose that they've put this together is to help folk understand the capabilities and limitations of what the Apple Foundations models can do. You could do this using the Swift APIs like last year, but this year by wrapping a CLI in front of it, you can now automate it, script it, and you run massive test cases against your data to measure how your app's going to perform against it. But what I found interesting was that you could specify the model PCC. And that's Apple's private cloud compute. So for Apple's private cloud compute, this is the model that's running on the server side. And any other server side CLI tool that you've used for AI stuff, you have to provide a token or you've got to log in. But this one in the docs just runs out of the box. So I was like, you're live at, closing quotes. You're live at CocoaHeads. And let's see if I'm what did I do there? Oh, respond, thank you. Right, yes, okay. Let me clear that so you can see what I'm just focusing on. Yeah! Yeah, woo. Greetings, CocoaHeads, it's great to be here, blah, 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 blah. So this is the cloud model from Apple, and there's a quota behind it, but you don't know what your quota is. And it's tied to your Apple account. And what that means is that someone else can potentially write an app and call this CLI and use your quota to reach Apple's cloud compute. And that's where I got very interested. I'm like, well, it's not gated by tokens. Like, how are they going to stop people doing this? So The purpose for it is meant for testing, and they also talk in the presentation about you can use private cloud compute. They also released a Python SDK at the same time, and one of the most voted issues on the Python SDK on GitHub is, well, how do I get the Python SDK to talk to private cloud compute? And the Apple engineers say, no, it's not meant for that. If you want to do private cloud compute, you call it on the CLI. This chart here is just to talk about, Apple's foundation models, or I can talk to private cloud compute. Maybe I can use this to replace my Claude subscription and all that other stuff. No, it's still very limited. You've got a small context window with what you can do with it. It's great to understand its capabilities, but even on a local LLM, so this is like the small skill set of what you can do on AI stuff on your local device. Your Claudes and ChatGPTs and Codexes and all of that, they're much bigger than that. So this isn't going to replace that. But it's meant for testing and understanding what Apple Foundation models are capable of. I started poking it. I started putting it in a script. And when I was trying to script the private cloud compute model, I started to get this error message that was inference is not available in this context. I wanted to know where that was coming from, that error message. So before that, I dumped strings to figure out whether the error message was coming from the binary or from somewhere else, and figured out it was coming from the tool. And then I could see that the log for the tool was very verbose. So anytime I'm calling any CLI and it behaves poorly, open up Apple Console or run the log command, and you can see if it's doing any debug logging and being a good actor on Apple platforms. And the Apple engineers have put an amazing amount of awesome information in here about how they gate the private cloud compute from being scripted. It's not highlighted in there, but what they have is these. Can I point to one of the rules? Failed ancestry checked. Can't see one of them. But rule 1, rule 2. So once I saw those, I was focusing in on there's these rules. And they have these rules about no TTY on STD, FD. If you're not a shell scripting person, these will mean nothing to you. What they mean is that they are rules to ensure that the tool is called from the terminal, not by some other program, and it's not being scripted. The intent from Apple seems to be that they just want private cloud compute to be used by a human at their terminal. And you can understand the abuse situation if a third-party bad actor threw in calls to private cloud compute, they could exhaust everyone's quotas. And there was this fun little string here for the 0 window size, which I'd never seen for CLI protection before. The English version of what these mean are, for those that understand a bit of shell scripting, ensuring that all of the input and output from the command line is going to a terminal, easy to fake. The process must have a controlling terminal of its own, again, easy to fake. And the parent process, what they do is they walk up the process hierarchy to ensure the Apple signature of someone in the chain is actually signed by Apple, which is, that's pretty good. But the one that I found very interesting was that the terminal must report a non-zero window size. So it's super easy to fake that you're in a terminal context by just wrapping it with script or calling a fake terminal session. But it takes a little bit more effort to fake the window size. To bypass it, it just takes that. So it's just a small amount of Python. This is not something that you would use. This is why it's a lightning talk. I just found it interesting that Apple were protecting this particular CLI and found it interesting the ways that they were guarding it. It's beta 3. I hope that they change it to make it more interesting for me. But outside of that, there's no use I have for private cloud compute in my scripts other than poking it for fun. This is where you can find me, and that was my lightning talk. Someone's got a question.
I have a question. Can you go back to the rules list?
This one?
Yep. So it says a genuine terminal session. Does that mean they have an allow list of approved terminal applications that they're doing this, or are they detecting that some other way?
No, it's again just checking that a TTY is available, like a terminal session exists within the 64 ancestors that they walk up. I have not created a 65th ancestor and tested that rule 3 breaking.
But what are they using to determine if it's genuine? Is it just the presence of a TTY?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions for Pete? I can't tell if there's people online with questions. I'm just bringing it up now. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete.